the women are the major force to look after the farmland and to look after their animal husbandry, etc., etc. So this is very true that since the land holdings are very small, in the villages the land holdings are, I think they are not bigger than 1 hectare. They are very small, and that too they are very scattered. So whatever the produce is, that is very very small, and it is not good for every family to get the yield for 1 year. So they have to go to the market to buy the goods from the markets. So it is very much necessary to empower them through social and political initiatives. And these initiatives are also being taken by the government. There are many schemes, particularly I think Manrega is also providing lots of opportunities to the females, and through Manrega they are earning money, and also they are getting employed in different kind of trades. Moreover, then there are other schemes like Anganwadi. This is also one of the initiative which has been taken by the governments, and some of the women have been engaged by Anganwadi. And then there are other things like the government is also promoting dairy, animal husbandry. So women are part and parcel of that also. And as far as the political arena goes, the 33% reservation is already in place in the panchayats, and Uttarakhand it is 50% reservation that has been given to the women, so that they can be empowered and they have this sense of self-worth. They have this sense of decision making. They have this sense of access to opportunities. They have this sense of having a control on their own lives, and also to be part and parcel of the decision-making bodies. So this is a very important change, because unless there are social change and political change, we cannot talk about empowerment. Because empowerment is also very important, because power means capacity to change. Power means capacity to expand or to control their lives or create women's own perception. So the policies are working in this direction, that the women can be the part and parcel of the developmental scenario and the development, or it should be according to their needs. But the only problem is that whenever there are policies or there are concerns, but women-centric schemes or women's perception is not taken care of. That what do they want particularly for their village? What do they want particularly for their region? Policies are there, of course, but depends upon the implementing agencies also, that how they implement it, so that the women can get the benefit of those policies. So the agencies are also equally responsible, because women are not the agency to implement these policies. The agencies at every level should be sensitized to the needs of the women. Like this scheme of toilets in every home is very good scheme, because this has provided women a kind of safety. And similarly, there are schemes for providing water, har ghar jal, har ghar jal, har ghar जो पाइप जो पानी का जाता है, वो भी उनके बर्डन को कम करने के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, बहुत जरूरी है. अब डिपेंड ये करता है कि उस पाइप से पानी कितना आता है. इज देयर ड्रजरी रिड्यूस्ड, और उनकी ड्रजरी फिर वही है जैसी कि पहले थी. बिकॉज देयर आर scenes which we have seen when we go to the field areas, that pipes are of course there, but somewhere pipes are broken. Somewhere people have constructed, जिसे पानी की टंकी बोलते हैं वो उन्होंने बना ली, और सारा पानी वहीं पर जमा हो जाता है, और वो पानी और घर तक नहीं जाता. So the issue remains same, that policies are there very much. जैसे बेटी बचाओ बेटी पढ़ाओ, this policy is also very important. It shows the importance of the women, not only in the social arena but also in political arena. So policies are there to help them, but the only thing is that how do you implement these policies. I'll also like to talk about that उज्ज्वला स्कीम। उज्ज्वला योजना बहुत अच्छी है। इससे जो महिलाएं हैं उनकी वनों पर जो निर्भरता है वो कम हुई है, और जो फॉरेस्ट से जो लकड़ी लाने का जो उनका रोज का एक कार्यक्रम था वो थोड़ा कम हुआ है। बट still women are doing it. There are two factors for it. One is that wood is free. They can get it in abundant quantity. They can get it free of cost, and they can get it for their day-to-day use without any hindrance or without any problem. And this keeps them warm also while they cook their food in their chula, तो वो उनको गर्म भी रखता है। Now उज्ज्वला गांव तक पहुंचती है, लेकिन जो गांव सड़क तक जुड़े हैं उनके लिए तो बहुत अच्छा है। जो गांव सड़क से ऊपर है तो वहां पर गैस का सिलेंडर आता है सड़क पे, और वहां से फिर महिला को ही वो सिलेंडर सर पे रख के अपने घर तक ले जाना पड़ता है। तो उसका बोझ तो कम नहीं हुआ, उसका बोझ तो वहीं का वहीं बना रहा। पहले वो गैस के लिए वेट करती है, गैस जब आती है फिर उसको लेके जाती है, और नेक्स्ट जो डिलीवरी है वो कब होगी वो कई बार सर्टेन होती है, कई बार अनसर्टेन होती है। तो उस अनसर्टेनिटी से बचने का सबसे अच्छा इलाज है कि वो सोचते हैं कि आप लकड़ी जमा करके रख लें। सो दे आर अगेन डिपेंडेंट ऑन वुड, दे आर नॉट लेफ्ट देयर डिपेंडेंस ऑन वुड। सो वुड इज ऑल्सो पार्ट एंड पार्सल ऑफ देयर लाइफ besides Ujjwala. Although Ujjwala is a very wonderful scheme, and these kind of initiatives have helped the women, they can have some spare time for other skills. They can learn other skills, like some of the self-help groups have been created in the villages, and they are doing various jobs like making juice, jam, jelly, and also various products of the wild edible plants. They are also involved into the activities like knitting and also making some shawls, and these are the skills which are making them economically independent. And when they become economically independent, they become powerful also. They are empowered also. So of course, social and political initiatives are empowering the women, and they can be the agent of change in the society in the future also.
That's right, ma'am. But adding more to it, I think this burning of wood for cooking also has some kind of health hazards to the women.
True, that's very true. That's very true.
So
that's why I'm saying Ujjwala is very important scheme for them. But this comes at a cost, and also the supply should be regular. But this is true, because this burning firewood is not good for health, and the smoke causes the health hazards. That's very true. I agree.
We have to straighten the supply chain, in fact, I suppose.
Yes, that we have to do, and also we have to devise something that how the women can take the cylinder easily from road to their houses.
Absolutely.
There should be some technological intervention in this, so that then they will be able to enjoy the cooking gas much, and they will not go after the firewood. They will not go for it. So there should be some low-key technological interventions to ease their burden. That should be there.
That's right. That's great, ma'am. Thanks, ma'am. And we'll come down to our second part, ma'am. We'll touch upon some effect of climate change. Does climate change affect resources and conflicts, thus aggravating the socio-political imbalance? What do you think about it?
Although there is too much water in the rivers, and sometimes it results into floods, but when it comes to drinking, I have already explained that there is hardly any water for drinking. So water resources, wild food resources, and biodiversity, these all are being affected by the climate change or by climate fluctuations. So it's creating a kind of imbalance. Like the economy is not a good economy. It's not a rich economy. Rather, the rural areas economy is still poor economy, and they practice limited agriculture. They have small holdings, as I said earlier, and the infrastructure is also non-viable for agriculture, particularly. And there are hydroelectrical power projects which are coming up in all the river belts, river valley areas, and they also have their plus and minus. They do generate power for you, but then they create problems whenever there are problems. Like in 2021, there was a glacial lake burst, and this was the water was so much that the Tapovan Dam could not hold it, and the water flew in the rivers, and then it was coming towards even Srinagar, and it was I think threatening up to the Haridwar region. So this eventuality can come up again and again, but it needs to be handled carefully. We should not dam the river so much that we do not get drinking water. Like I'll also give you example of Srinagar, that during the rainy season we get muddy water for drinking, but during the summer season there is hardly any water in the river because the dam takes over all the water, and whenever the water is released by the dam, it is provided for drinking. So the waterborne disease have increased in the hill areas. Earlier there were no cases of such kind of waterborne disease because the water was flowing, and now the water is stagnated. So this stagnated water is bringing problems with it. And but somehow electricity is being generated. But like you can take the example of TD Dam also. The electricity, the major part of electricity is being given to Delhi and other states, not to Uttarakhand. Like similarly, we have a dam in Srinagar also, and the electricity goes to Uttar Pradesh, not to Uttarakhand. So these kinds of investment are endangering the lives of the people, creating problems for the people in their day-to-day affairs. And so these projects are not that much viable economically, socially, and politically. If we have to have dams, because otherwise we don't have any other source of energy. So if we have to have dams, we have to think about all these things also, that how these could be rationalized and how the people of these areas could be benefited by the interventions which are from the government side. Piece for the enforcement of policy is very important in this direction. And yes, you are very true that these climate change situation has increased vulnerabilities, socio-cultural, economic, health, psychological, and educational vulnerability. And the man and animal conflict has also increased, because now what is happening, that we have encroached the spaces where the animals used to live. We have increased our living areas. We have degraded the forest land. We have encroached the forest land. That's how the diseases are also coming. Like we were talking about coronavirus, that it came from a bat or from the bats, because we have invaded their spaces, zoonotic spaces, and that's how the animals are now coming to the human inhabitations and endangering the life of the human beings. There is a huge threat to the human life in the hill areas, and this threat is increasing day by day, because the climate changes are also happening very, very fast, and the climate fluctuations are increasing it and endangering the life of the human beings in all parts of the world, and particularly in the Himalayan areas, as I said in the beginning also, because they are very much sensitive towards the climate change.
Though you have already said that climate change has impacted not only human beings but also animals, and it's almost everywhere. However, there is a link between the climate change and its impact on political, economical, and social fragility. we would like to see a little bit at a macro level going up to the Asian Pacific region. How do you see the impact as a region over here?
So the climate change is affecting states in a different manner. All these states are being affected. Like, as I said, that our traditional wisdom says that these are climate fluctuations. They keep on happening. And people are taking it sometimes seriously, sometimes very lightly. If they have been taking it very seriously, then why do we see the rivers of garbage in the cities if it's a serious thing? Why do we see the pollution in the water? Every natural space, every human space has been polluted. And this has become a very important political phenomena. Everyone is talking about garbage management, particularly because this is a greatest problem of today. You have to manage the garbage. The cities are just, they will be buried under the weight of garbage if we don't have a clear-cut policy or we don't have strategies for garbage disposal. This is a very important thing and very important phenomena on which we have to work, and then only we can talk about eco-friendly development. Unless we do not do it, the development cannot be eco-friendly.
Now we would like to touch upon the resources and the sustainable energy models. Like we have seen that replacing hydrocarbons like petrol and coal by renewable energy resources. What do you think? Is it going to alter the current geopolitical symmetries?
Actually, these resources are very important, like solar. And you must be knowing that Ladakh is fully solar state, and solar works for them very nicely. And more states are going solar. Wind energy is also being used, and even Uttarakhand, we are also trying for solar energy. In northeastern state also they are trying for it, and I think it will be a boon. It will be a boon in the near future. But it is also true that our dependence on petrol and diesel will never reduce, because solar energy cannot replace these petrol and diesel. And that's not possible also, because if we see in the Western countries, or if we see in the countries who are covered by snow or there is no sunshine for 6 months, how can they use the solar energy? They'll be using petrol and diesel only. So hydrocarbon, it's very difficult to replace hydrocarbons, but yes, their use can be reduced by alternative sources of energy like solar energy, wind energy, or green energies, whichever is available. But yes, their use should be reduced as much as possible. But you will also see that in the houses where one car was earlier available, now there are 3 cars, and nobody is going to reduce that number. And this has created burden on the roads also. That's why we see traffic jams. So the climate change or the human intervention in the climatic conditions have induced such kind of circumstances that are irreversible. Either we have to reduce our requirements, or we have to go by nature, or we have to suffer the consequences of the climate change or global warming.
And we have seen from a couple of decades, we have seen so many impacts of climate change in Asia Pacific and in the rest of the part. This climate change leads to migration, right? Do you think it's a socio-political solution or a threat?
It's true. It's to some extent it's true. But if I will talk from the perspective of Uttarakhand, migration has been practiced in Uttarakhand since ages. And it's not purely related to climate change. but it's related to several things like the small land holdings, unproductivity of agriculture, and lack of diversification of agriculture, poor economy, and lack of facilities like medical facilities, health facilities, educational facilities, and also the lack of other resources. So they allow the people to migrate. And like from Uttarakhand, people migrate to either urban towns or nearby towns. But Uttarakhand became a money order economy because the families used to sustain on the basis of the money order, which used to be received by families every month by the migrant family member. But now the phenomena has totally changed, and now people are migrating with their families to the urban towns. And the reasons, they remain the same. The lack of development. As I said in the earlier segment, that development should not be part of politics, but it should be there. It should be always there. If there had been schools, if there had been medical facilities, if there had been livelihood opportunities, people would not have been migrated from these areas. And this goes in all the places of India. Wherever there is a migration, it is from rural areas to urban areas. Very few people migrate from urban areas to rural areas, and those people who migrate from urban areas to rural areas are those who are rich and who can afford good housing in a small village or in a small hill town, like you have seen Kasoli near Himachal Pradesh, and there are big bungalows of the people who are holding immense wealth. Similarly, in Mukteshwar near Nainital, there are villas by the people who come there just for summer vacations because the climate is good. So this is not a reverse migration, but you are having one more accommodation in a place of your choice because you can afford. But here the poor people migrate, the women migrate because they don't have any source of earning, any source of livelihood. So it is necessary that if we want to reverse the trend of migration, we need to create facilities in the villages. We need to create employment opportunities near the villages, and this is possible that if we invest in the livelihood generation techniques and activities. Like agroecology can be a very good source of livelihood if we invest in agroecology. Like we have many success stories. You can take an example of Himachal Pradesh. People have orchards, they grow apples. Now they are also growing walnuts, and the Himachal apple is very famous. Similarly, Himachal is investing in all the aspects of agroecology, like they are also producing saffron, cultivating saffron, and also they are producing hing. They are investing into it, and they are also customizing technologies for increasing the livelihood of the people. If agriculture is unproductive, then the alternative sources are agroecology. Similarly, in Uttarakhand also attempts are being made, like we have abundance of medicinal plants. We have also wild edible plants. So these could be very easily used for alternate livelihood for the people by encouraging them to invest into agroecology. But the need is to provide right technologies to them. So the livelihood opportunities could be developed to check migration. And in fact, I would like to inform you that we have created a consortium of 13 Indian Central Himalayan universities, and we are working with the sponsorship of Niti Aayog on the 5 thematic areas. One of the thematic area is enumeration and valuation of the economic impact of female labor in the hills. The second area is agroecology in Himalayan states with special emphasis on marketing. Now, this is a very important area, that if we have agroecology, but if it is not linked to marketing, then again you have lost the livelihood opportunity. So marketing linkages and also the facilities for storage like godowns or processing units should be near the villages. Then only the villagers can take benefit of these agroecology products and they can get good income. The third area is development of eco-friendly and cost-effective tourism in the hills. In the first segment, I talked about the Kedarnath disaster and also about the people's dependence on tourism, pilgrimage for their livelihood. There are so many unexplored areas and throughout the hill areas. If they are explored, then two things will happen. That it will stop crowding in the already crowded spaces because their carrying capacity has been full and people are coming in a large number and destroying the ecosystem of that place. So if we can suggest some of the beautiful places which are not frequented by the tourists and they are eco-friendly and cost-effective also, I think it will provide livelihood to other peoples who are living in those areas. And that will be a very good solution for stopping migration. The fourth area is opportunities of livelihood to check migration from hills. This was the area about which I was talking, that how we can stop migration. So through tourism, through agroecology, through trainings, through upscaling, through value addition, we can stop the migration and we can also provide employment or livelihood to the people of that area. And one more area on which we are working, that is water conservation harvesting strategies. And in this consortium, all the 13 universities of Western Himalaya and Northeastern Himalaya and one CSIR IHBT Palampur are the partners. So we are doing these studies and I think by the end of February, we would be able to submit our report. And then I would be able to speak more about these issues because I would be having the recommendations and the reports also. And also we would be understanding the gaps between policies and actions. There are so many policies, but we have to understand what are the gaps, that why despite these policies, so many policies, we are still talking about these issues. We should not have talked about these issues because these would have been resolved. इतनी सारी नीतियां हैं तो ये सारी चीजें सुलझी क्यों नहीं आज तक? तो हमको ये समझना भी बहुत जरूरी है कि आखिर ऐसी कौन सी कमियां रह गई इन पॉलिसीज में जिसकी वजह से ये समस्याएं अभी भी जस की तस बनी हुई हैं. So I think we should be understanding it when this report is finalized, and I'm very happy to share with you that we are going to finalize these reports very soon and we'll be submitting it to the Niti Aayog. And I just also want to say that there are so many policies for forest also. From 1952 to for everything we have policy. For even for disaster management, we have a policy in 2005. 2005 we have a Bhavan Nirman Niti, 2006 Paryavaran Niti, 2009 Rashtriya Prabandhan Niti, 2010 Harit Pradhikaran Niti, and Uttarakhand Pariyatan Niti 2017. Even Uttarakhand created a Palayan Ayog also to study the problems of the people, that why they migrated. So migration is a real phenomenon. That's how the Palayan Ayog was also constituted. And they have also submitted their recommendation. Now it's the time for the government to take up that call and try to reduce the migration from these areas.
Right, ma'am. Though you have already pinpointed the other part of my question, because Uttarakhand already holds a strategic key position in terms of climate change, because we have Himalayas, from the agroecology, which you were talking about, from tourism and from upscaling, value addition, and all that. These are the immense possibilities that our state has. I think the policy has been created, but the implementation part or the execution part would be having some complication, due to which we are not getting the output what we are expecting to. What do you think, ma'am? What are your suggestions so that we can have a broader, go ahead in this regard?
One of the suggestion is that we have to make a realistic assessment of the policies in every area, not only in Uttarakhand, but every part of India. We have to make a realistic assessment of the policies. We have to assess that why in that state this policy was successful and in this state this policy is not successful. What are the factors? So we have to pinpoint the factors for that policy, that why this policy is not successful. What are the gaps which we can fill by actions? If it's a mistake of the agencies who are responsible for implementing policies, because policies are always made for implementation. So if it's a mistake of the implementing agencies, they need to be educated, or they need to be told that this is not the way the policies will be handle them correctly. Then you have also to take people in confidence, because ultimately policies are made for people. They don't apply in a vacuum. They apply in a ecosystem for the human beings. So human beings are also equally responsible to uphold the spirit of that policy. If there is a policy, like for example, I'll say, ये कहा जाता है कि दीवारों पर पोस्टर चिपकाना मना है तो पोस्टर क्यों चिपकाए जाते हैं? ये कहा जाता है कि दीवारों पर लिखना नहीं चाहिए, तो अगर नहीं लिखना चाहिए तो क्यों लिखा जाता है? द रोल्स, हमको जो रोल दिए गए हैं उन रोल्स को हमें ढंग से प्ले करना चाहिए. ये भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. हर एक का रोल है सोसाइटी में, कोई भी ऐसा नहीं है जिसका कि रोल नहीं है. हर एक का रोल है, एंड दिस रोल स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम द फैमिली. इन ए फैमिली there is a certain role for the parents, there is a certain role for the children. In schools, there is a certain role for teachers and students. In universities, there is a certain role for students, for employees, for teachers, and for the officials. Similarly, in a district or in a state, everybody has got roles. So everybody has to play their roles with care, with responsibility, and with a belongingness. एक अपनेपन से अगर हम उस रोल को प्ले करेंगे तो निश्चित तौर पर हम इन सारी समस्याओं का समाधान कर पाएंगे. और अगर हम उसको अपनापन नहीं दिखा पाते, हम उसको अडॉप्ट नहीं करते, बिलोंग नहीं करते, तो वो काम नहीं कर पाएंगे. तो मेरा तो सुझाव यही है कि हम सबको, चूंकि क्लाइमेट चेंज है, एक रियल फिनोमिना है, उससे बचना है तो हमें अपने तौर तरीके सुधारने होंगे. We'll have to amend our behavior. We should not be careless, because the carelessness would be very risky for all of us, and our future will be dark. And it's our common future. And it was said in 1985 only. This is our common future. हमारे planet का common future है. तो हमको मिलजुल के काम करना है इस planet को बचाने के लिए, अपने country को बचाने के लिए, और उसको बचाने के लिए हम जो कुछ कर सकते हैं वो हमें करना चाहिए.
There is anything important which you would like to share with respect to climate change, or anything with the students, with the teachers, with the parents, or with the society, community, or whosoever it may be?
मैं तो यही कहना चाहूंगी कि चूंकि सोसाइटी का मतलब होता है एक समुदाय, हम उस समुदाय के महत्व को समझें और हम उस समुदाय की जो नियम और कानून है उनका पालन करें, और हम ये देखें कि वो समुदाय किस तरीके से देश की उन्नति में सहायक होता है. समुदाय में चूंकि हर व्यक्ति, हर संस्था और हर एक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर जुड़ा हुआ है, तो ये देश की उन्नति में तभी सहायक होगा जबकि प्रोडक्टिव होगा. सो वी नीड प्रोडक्टिविटी. हमें एक संतुलित समाज का निर्माण करना है जिसको हम कहते हैं सस्टेनेबल सोसाइटी. ये संतुलित और सस्टेनेबल सोसाइटी तभी बनेगी जब इसमें हर एक का कंधा मिलेगा, हर एक का हाथ मिलेगा, कि दूसरे को भी उतना ही ऊपर उठाना है जितने वो खुद ऊपर उठे हैं. हम अपने समाज, अपने समुदाय और अपने देश के लिए कुछ ऐसा काम करें जिससे कि हमारे देश की प्रगति हो हर क्षेत्र में, और इसके साथ हर एक व्यक्ति की प्रगति हो. We should also think about the persons who are sitting in the last ladder of the society.